Welcome to From Here, where we discuss what it really takes to lead a great life and a great business, one conversation at a time. I'm Vanessa Oak-Hogan, broker-owner of Century 21 United Realty. This podcast isn't just about real estate, it's about drive, discipline, and the people behind the success stories, from entrepreneurs and innovators to community leaders. I sit down with people I admire to talk about work ethic, business tactics, decision-making, and how they're making impact in their own way. Let's get into it. Okay, welcome to the From Here podcast. Today, I'm very excited to have Terry Horrigan here with us. He has been with Century 21 in real estate for 46 years and recently retired. And I'm very excited to talk to Terry about his career and life. So, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's nice to be here.
Yeah, I'm back again after a few weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
When was the official date?
Well, at the end of June was my last day. So
How's it going?
adjusting to retirement.
Yeah.
By playing a lot of golf.
Yeah. To familiar time. And
you know, everybody told me when you retire, you won't believe how busy you are. And I'm finding that.
yeah,
I'm busy.
it's easy to fill your day.
Yeah. So you wonder how you had time to work
Yeah.
at one time.
Yeah.
It just seems to be the way it is.
So that's good.
Hopefully it'll slow down and I'll get more free time.
Yeah. Well, you've got the hunt coming up. And
Yeah. I got lots of extra curricular activities that I like to do, which golf,
Yeah.
hunting, and the dog training.
Yeah.
My mother's here. She just moved from the farm to Peterborough, so she's in a retirement home, and that's keeping me busy.
So I wanted to touch on that. Your mom was in her farm, in her home, independent living till she was...
Yeah, she's been on her own on a 100-acre farm for the last 10 years since my dad passed away.
Yeah.
And was doing very well.
Yeah.
Had a big garden and raking leaves. And,
It's unbelievable to
yeah,
me.
she was good. But, you know, we were going down each week, my brothers and I, and making sure that, you know, her meals and stuff. And we knew that it was time.
Yeah.
This winter seemed to take a lot out of my mother, you know. So we got her in quickly to a retirement home here, and it's working out.
Doing well? Yeah. Good. Yeah. Sorry, that's my phone ringing. So what do you think the secret is to her longevity? Or do you know, like...
Well, amazingly, I took her to a doctor's appointment and an eye test with the ophthalmologist. She has a problem with one eye. And as he asked me a bunch of questions about her health, and I answered, no problems there, no problems. He said, are you kidding? He said, she's 93 and she's really never had any issues.
Yeah.
And he asked me the same question, and I said, I think it was probably because she had a garden. She grew her own food.
Yeah.
And her and Dad had cattle. They even had their own, you know, beef and everything else. Mm-hmm. And they worked, you know, and they were always outdoors and they were always working. So,
Yeah.
you know, that was their exercise. They got it all living there.
Yeah. I think that has a big...
I think that has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you didn't grow up on that farm, though, did you?
Well, Mom and Dad grew up about 15 miles apart on their farms. They both grew up on farms. So we always had farms. And as a kid, you know, when Dad left the farm to come to Peterborough to start working in construction, we always had to go back every weekend because his dad passed away when he was young. So his mother, my grandmother, was on the farm and he had to go and help her. So every weekend we were there.
You would all go.
Yeah. Well, it was just me at that time. My brothers came along. There was 6 years between each of her sons. So
Yeah.
we were always on the farm. Summers we'd spend down there for, you know, a couple weeks at a time. And
Nice.
yeah, so the farms were part of growing up.
So as a kid, it was probably like, oh, I got to go work? Or was it... But it
Well,
became...
you know, it was different because I had the best of both worlds. There was always stuff on the farm that you could do. You know, it was fun. I had some great uncles that were always like to take me in the truck, and they were always dealing with cattle and horses and dogs and things like that. So, and then I'd come back to Peterborough and I'd have my buddies in town where we were playing a lot of different sports.
Right.
Different kind of, it was nice to have both worlds.
Yeah.
So,
Really lucky,
a
I
little
think.
different than living up totally in the city. Although I do find in the farms, rural, they're closer in a sense. They're further apart. You don't have anybody next door, but they're closer. There's
The families are closer? Is that what you're
families
saying?
are closer. They attend events together,
Nice.
where everybody meets, and farmers that was their networking type
Yeah.
thing, where they discuss farms, crops, things like that, buy and sell cattle. Quite often it was after church on Sunday. You'd see all the old farmers over there getting together.
Making deals?
Yeah, making deals, or they'd be at, a sale. They used to all go to sales and things like that. And then it was different. You come to the city, you could have people next door and you wouldn't even know them,
Yeah.
Where a farm, you'd be miles from each other and everybody knew each other.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
And so is that where I'd say you have a love of animals, a love of dogs, to decide to do that on the side, training dogs?
Yeah,
That probably came from that?
Yeah, my one uncle, he raised dogs. He had farm dogs, cattle dogs that he raised, and hunting dogs, hounds.
Okay.
Yeah, so he was good with horses. He was really good with animals. And he was always showing me stuff.
Nice.
And it was fun as a kid to watch those animals and those dogs work with big animals. Small dogs putting bulls in the back of a truck, things like that.
Yeah.
So that's probably where it started for me.
And did he get you into hunting, like intrigued?
Yes. Yeah, he was the hunter. Most of the farm guys were busy on the farms, but he was a bachelor till he was 56. That's when he got married. So he had a little more time to be able to
go do all that.
Do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, I really enjoyed being around him.
Nice. Yeah. Is he still alive?
No, he died at 96.
Okay.
Yeah. And Stanton was his name, and he was a wonderful uncle.
Nice. Yeah. These people can really have a key role in kids' lives, right? Not just the parents.
That. Yeah, when you're young like that, they're a real influence.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So real estate.
Yes.
Yeah, I want to have the discussion to help realtors that maybe have got into the business, within the last 8 years, 10 years.
Right.
I think it's been a fairly good market, and there's so much that's different from when you started. What year was it that I could do that?
1979.
That you got into real estate. Yeah. So if you could take us back to that time. So who did you meet first in the business?
Well, actually, I bought a house when I was 21. A fellow by the name of Karen Collins was selling. Legend. Yeah, and he sold me my first house.
Okay.
I didn't have much money. The bank wouldn't look at me, but Karen put the deal together and had the vendor take back a mortgage. So I never lived in the house. It was a rental property, but I always wanted to own property. So as soon as I had enough money for a down payment, I bought a house. And then through Karen, I really fell in love with the idea of owning real estate and land. And he was becoming a manager at that time with Century 21. And I got talking to him, and he said, you should get into it. So actually, that was what got me into it.
So how soon after you bought that house that you...
Oh, it was probably 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
And what were you doing for work back then?
Oh, I did a lot of things. My dad was in construction, so I always had work there. I worked for the county of Peterborough surveying for a couple years.
Relatable.
And then I worked for Coca-Cola in Toronto, and I worked for Cavalier Beverages here in Peterborough. And it was there that I had decided I got to find something that's my own.
Yeah. Okay.
Something that I can be my own boss. I kind of want it to be independent.
Yeah.
And real estate seemed to me something that I liked. And you could be your own boss. You could work as much as you wanted to. It was up to you. So
yeah.
That attracted me. And that's when I made the jump.
So you called Carm and...
Well, yeah, I went and took the courses. I started to take them part-time, and I thought, this is going to take forever. So I jumped in full-time, got my courses and everything. And then Carm had always told me that, when you're ready to come, we have a job here for you.
Yeah.
So that's when I started. It was Century 21 Graham and Rowe at that time.
Yeah. And then you moved over to...
I moved over. I was 3 years with Gray Monroe, and then Remax had come into the picture.
So now we're talking like late...
Yeah, that would have been early 80s, about 83, 84, somewhere around there.
Remax, when you say came into the picture, sorry to interrupt, meaning the brand came about.
The brand came about, yeah. And it had came here to Peterborough. John Bowes, who was with Bowes and Cox, had started his own real estate, Bowes Realty, and then he got the first Remax franchise here.
Right.
So as an agent who'd had pretty good success for the first few years, you know, they had kind of started to recruit other agents. So I had interviewed and spoke with them just out of curiosity, and then decided, well, you know, commission splits and everything is changing. And that's when your dad and I didn't want to leave Century 21. I really felt comfortable here, and I didn't want to jump to a new franchise.
Okay.
So when I spoke with Carl, of course, and I knew Carl well, boom, it was decided I was coming with Carl. And I've been there ever since.
Yeah.
43 years with Carl.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did you know Dad?
Well, I grew up in the North End, and your dad, he was a few years older than me, but I had known Carl as a kid, delivering papers and going through the Brookdale Plaza where Carl worked at the Dominion stores, and then he worked for Shoppers, or they worked the pharmacy, Smith and Smith.
Yeah.
He had a couple jobs, and he was an older teenager then, but he was impressive. He was a guy you watched. And then as high school years, you know, Carl always had a car and was always dressed sharp. You know, I kind of watched Carl a lot, so I knew your dad pretty good a long time ago. Yeah. And then there was friends that I met later on that were Carl's best friends, and everybody spoke highly of Carl.
Yeah.
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 So it was an easy move to join with Carl.
And if I could just speak about Dad a bit more, I don't want to take up, go down memory lane too much about my dad. It's more about you. I want to hear more about you. But what was it like? What was Dad like as a leader back then? Because I think he'd be in his prime at that stage.
Oh, he was a leader. There was no doubt. You know, like Carl had been a real successful agent, and then moved and started his own business with Oak Wanamaker. And they were in a converted garage on Water Street.
Yes, I remember that.
And I remember going in and doing deals there, and Carl always welcomed you. You know, he's just a leader. And you knew he was going to go places. So then when he started his own franchise with Century 21, you just knew he was always well dressed. He was always prepared. You know, and he was always sharp. So, you know, you had a guy that was going to cover you, have your back. I just felt that with Carl. Yeah. You just knew you were in the right place with Carl.
And I think you all had a lot of fun back in the day. Like, I think if you look back to 80s, 70s, 80s, the lifestyle of realtors, or maybe it was just business people in general, was a lot different. Would you agree? It was
a lot different.
Like, you guys would have... Can I say boozy lunches? Like, that was common, right?
Oh, yeah. Work hard, play hard. But there was things that, you know, credit cards had just come in. I never had a credit card, but when they did come around, all of a sudden real estate agents had credit cards. So they'd go for lunch, and they were all fighting over, put it on my card because there's money on my... They didn't realize they had to pay those cards back, and the interest rates
they were brand new. People that didn't have credit cards before that.
All of a sudden, they got credit cards. Okay. You know, when we got into real estate, it was about... Well, I'll tell you one thing. We always wore suits and ties. We were always well-dressed.
Yeah.
And we always drove pretty good cars because you used to live in your car.
Okay.
You know, you were always having people in your car. You were always taking them, showing them around houses, going to meet them.
Which is different, right? Because now people often, the realtors will drive to the house and meet the people at the house. Some people aren't comfortable getting in a car with a new person.
Yeah, and you'll meet them, if you're going to show them a property, you'll meet them at the property.
Yeah.
Where I used to, back in the day, we'd get them in our car. We had them in our car all day. We'd sell 5 properties, 10 properties, farms, waterfront, whatever. You lived in your car.
Yeah.
And after hours, we would go out because, and look for signs. If I needed a house in the North End, I used to drive around at nights with another agent usually, and we just look for signs. So we could get ahead of everybody else, because that sign was a 24-hour salesman. And people didn't know about real estate like they do now. It's automatic now, with computers and everything else. Yeah, so we used to, it wasn't a 9 to 5 job. Saturdays, Sundays, you did open houses. You worked the same as, there was. So, it felt to me like there was more work, but there was more time to relax too,
Yeah.
After the day was done, then, you could forget about what you had to that day and blow off some steam. But yeah, it's a totally different game today, I think, than it was back then.
Yeah.
Especially with the technology and the changes. I mean, I was in it before there was fax machines. When you talk about offers, we had to use the carbon paper and make like 5 or 6 different copies, one for each agent, one for the purchaser, one for the buyer, one for each company, one for the lawyers.
Right.
And it was all pressed on that sheet.
Yeah.
Even the conditions and everything, they were pretty well memorized. I remember writing offers on the hood of my car.
And you would write out the condition.
I would write it out by hand, and put it all in that offer and then ship it off.
And do you recall ever finding yourself in trouble because maybe you didn't cover a base? Like, I assume that all of this change in the industry has come about because somebody screwed something up and we got to cover this and we got to cover that.
Those are changes that came later.
Okay.
Back in the day, and we didn't have many problems. I mean, it wasn't as...
Litigious?
Yeah, that's a good word. I'm glad you said it. Because now, I mean, you really have to cover your butt, so to speak, compared to back then. But we didn't seem to have too many problems, and the lawyers were always easy to deal with. Now you've got to be careful. Now you have money laundering and things like that, where people are very...
The world's changed a lot.
The world has changed,
Yeah.
And so has this industry.
Yeah.
Changed a lot.
Yeah.
And even the girl at the front desk, she was such a key then, and she is now. But back then, you really needed to have the call get to you one way or another.
Yeah.
And then, of course, fax machines come in, and that was, I thought, oh, what a great invention, a fax machine.
Yeah.
And then a pager came in,
Yeah.
things like that, and it started to change. We used to have to get initials from people in Toronto, drive to Toronto to get an initial.
Of course.
Drive back to Peterborough.
And then
like I say, it's
sign
kind of
back
living
and
in your
forth.
car,
Yeah.
Yeah, just to get the deal together,
Yeah. So there have been so many efficiencies since then, which you think would take a lot of the stress out of the job. However, you're now available 24/7. Like, you can't just go home at the end of the day back in the day when you didn't have a pager and just be done.
No. It's a stressful, but if you love it,
Yep.
you love it.
You do.
So that's just part of the job, really.
Yeah. And I have to say, you've seen so much change, and you were very good at adapting to everything. Like,
I was, but as you get older, you don't adapt as quickly. That's what I found. Younger people have grown up with, your cell phone. I mean, we didn't have cell phones or anything like that back in the day, and now, that's just part of life for kids today. They know how to operate a cell phone and everything on it better than I do.
Yeah.
It's hard to adjust as you get older.
Absolutely.
Stay in the game.
Yeah. Would you say that's part of the reason you retired, or?
Well, it just got to the point, after 46 years, it's time to hang it up,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing is, I got to doing other things. I was a landlord all the years that I was a real estate agent. Like I said, I bought real estate as well as worked in it. Sometimes I guaranteed sales for people, which, it would help them buy their house. And if I had enough cash that I could go in and take that house
As an investment.
And I held them for 40 years. I just got rid of my last one last year. So that was part of it, because as you know, in real estate, there's no pensions. So you have to be thinking ahead down the road. And and that, and then doing mortgages, like, you'd sell place, then take back the mortgage.
Yeah.
All that's part of real estate, which I think for young realtors, they need to be thinking about that.
Yeah, you're right.
As their career goes on.
And what would you recommend? Would you recommend, like, could you say you should buy X number of investment properties? I think mortgages are the way to go, or like.
Well, I always believed in real estate. I was brought up that way. Mom and dad, they bought their houses. Dad actually bought a couple investment properties. So, don't wait to buy land and wait. It's a pretty secure investment.
Yeah.
And it's good that I believed in that, and I seen it to be true. I mean, you're going to have ups and downs. Don't get ahead of yourself. Don't
overextend yourself.
Don't overextend.
Yeah.
Just do what you can. If you got the down payment, and it was also easier. Like tenants, I hate to say, but people were better tenants back then than now. For some reason, I hear landlords and they're pulling their hair out. I had tenants for 30 and 40 years. They were people that just appreciated the house, and they looked after it.
Yeah. So
but it's a different world now,
Yeah. And the landlord and tenant act maybe.
Oh, yeah.
It's a bit of a.
Yeah. So it's not as easy, I don't think, right today as it used to be, for being a landlord.
Aside from all the technology, what do you think it takes for realtors to succeed today versus what it took back when you started? Do you think it's the same things?
I think you have to stay up with all the technology. I think that's a key thing for realtors today. Back in the day, you were given an office and a phone and you were said, good luck.
Yeah.
We're here, but today, with what you're doing, which what Carl was very good at, and Century 21 was giving training to your agents. And now you have resources. You have people that, like you have managers like Andrew and Doug. You have technical people that do all that for the agents. So the support that you get is really important. And that's why I started with Century 21. They had support. They had a 2-in-1 training course. They had things which other brokerages didn't have back in the day, So I thought they were ahead of the curve. There was actually 5 Century 21 offices in Peterborough when I first started.
Isn't that wild?
And there was only one left.
Yeah.
It was Carl Oak.
Yeah.
And it was because Carl stayed ahead of things. He brought back all those courses and stuff. He brought them back to the agents.
Would go to the conference.
Oh, they went to Vegas. They went all over San Francisco.
And bring it back.
And he'd bring it back and share it with the agents. Yeah. So that helped agents.
Yeah.
It really helped. And it still does today.
As painful as it is, I mean, we're always trying to stay ahead of the curve still, like Dad did. And it's painful sometimes for the agent group because they're like, come on, like, what now?
I know.
But it's important.
It's very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to stay at it. If you're going to be in the game, you got to play the game. And that's part of playing the game. Staying ahead of things.
So you did mention earlier, and I just wanted to pick at this a bit, that you had a very successful start to your career. Like, do you remember how many units you were selling?
What I remember most is when I started in real estate, within the first 6 months, I had doubled my income from what I was making the year before.
Wow.
Yeah. So I thought, wow, this is
great.
Yeah. And I think it was like, I made $18,000 or something with the company I was with the year before, which wasn't bad at that time.
Yeah.
But the next year, in the first 6 months, it was like $36,000, and I thought, wow, I'm on my way now.
Yeah.
I found my right thing, and I had luck. You got to have a little bit of luck. But I remember doing open houses and selling open houses, which is pretty rare. You do a lot of open houses kind of to look for buyers and things. But I actually doubled into some stuff, and it all fell together. And then I got a couple big deals. Like I sold a hotel, and they were bigger properties. So those were good breaks. And then in 89, I went into the management
Yes, I wanted to ask you about that too.
because he started a new office. He opened up a second office up in the north end.
Oh, so were you at the Chemung office, or he
No,
went there
I
and you
stayed here. Greg Shaggett was another agent that we took over this one, and Carl and Bounce Howe moved up to Brookdale.
Okay.
And then the market changed,
Yeah.
which is another learning curve, all of a sudden. And Carl was sharp enough to realize, we're in too deep right now. So folded up that office after about 6 months. It wasn't that long. Moved back to the office down here. I went back to selling, and
So it was a short stint because of the fact that the market shifted.
yeah, it was a total. But there was a lot of brokerages that were going out of business. There was a lot of agents that were going out of business. That's what I remember. And I think I told you that the big thing was to make the $1 Million Club at Century 21.
Mm-hmm.
And that year that the market kind of collapsed for a while, I had made $950,000. Like, that's what the volume was
Of your sales.
Yeah, so I only needed another $50,000, and that was in May. And I thought, I'm going to take a holiday. I've been like 3 years working steady. I'm going to take a break. I went to Florida. I come back after 3 weeks in Florida. I came back, thought, okay, well, get that $1 Million Club real quick. I never made it by the end of the year.
It was that slow.
It was that slow.
Yeah.
It was that slow.
Scary times.
Had lots of listings because there was a lot of power sales, but nobody was buying it. Interest rates went to like 21%.
Yeah.
It was death.
It's wild.
It was wild.
And I mean, we've gone through a bit of correction here. I'm not sure what's to come. It doesn't feel like it's going to be as bad as...
Well, I never thought I'd see interest rates below 12%, when I started real estate. Everything. There was the odd lifetime mortgage that some companies had, a life insurance company at 6.5%. And I thought, we used to adjust the sales of that house because, we'd work out the value of that lifetime mortgage and add it on to the value of the house when you sold it. So, and now, like, we think 5 is high.
Yeah.
And then it went down to like 1.5% and 2%. So,
Yeah.
which I don't know if it's good because, there's a lot of people got mortgages that cheap, and now that the rates go up, it's like, and then the prices go up with the low mortgages.
Yeah.
Some people used to say the higher the interest rate, the better the deal.
Yeah. It's true. Presently.
It is true.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now's a good time to buy.
Right. There you go.
Because it could come back down again.
Yeah.
And the prices will go up.
Yeah.
But who knows? It's always changing.
Yeah.
Always changing.
Well, thank you. I feel like we just started talking and...
Yeah. Well, it's a good subject to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad we got it on video. I won't forget all the details you just told me. And
Yeah.
I hope you enlightened some of the agents out there that
I hope so too. Yeah.
weren't in sales back then. And I think there was a lot to learn there.
Well, what I said before, your father would be so proud of what you've done with his company. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's a family company, and you operate it that way. So agents are very lucky to get in here and work with you.
Thanks.
And
Terry.
your staff.
Thank
You've always
you.
had great staff.
Yeah, I've been lucky.
You've been lucky, but you worked for it.
For sure. Well,
Yep.
thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome.